My pen name is Mamon Mamo, and I'm originally from the US, and I live in Tokyo now, and I've lived here for over 10 years. I do many different jobs and also manga. I have always loved to draw ever since I was little, and I always felt at peace when I'm drawing. And when I became an office worker, I kind of had less time to draw and focus on creating, and I really realized that that is kind of part of me, so I feel like drawing has always been a part of my life. So I came to Japan after I graduated college, and the first job that I got here was as an assistant language teacher in a school. And I did that, and then I went to manga school because I really wanted to learn about manga. But you can't get a visa with being a manga artist, so then I had to get a real job. And that kind of took up all my time, made manga a bit less of a priority. But I did many manga-related jobs, like I worked for an advertising company and did make manga for advertisements. And then after that, I did marketing and game planning, localization planning. I also like games. And then I worked for an app developer that makes manga software too. I always loved drawing, but I couldn't do drawing as a major in college because my parents didn't think it's very realistic. So I chose East Asian Studies, and I focused on Japan. So I studied Japanese mainly, and that kind of made me go to Japan because my interest in anime and manga and everything, and my study of Japanese led me to come here for study abroad, and then I really loved it, and I wanted to come back after I graduated. It was really exciting seeing everything the way that it is in the anime and manga. Obviously not everything is the same in that there's not like superpowered people, but the way that the houses are and the convenience stores and the food, everything is like it's pictured, so it's really exciting seeing that for real. When I first came, I wasn't very good at Japanese, so I couldn't read some signs, and there weren't that many English signs. Now it's gotten a lot better, but back then there were a lot less people speaking English, and so it's really hard to overcome that barrier. Also, there's a Japanese concept of tatemae, where people say things that sometimes they don't mean, but they mean to say them for civility and to keep, a friendly nature, and also for wa, which is harmony, which is very important in Japanese culture. So to keep this harmony, you don't refuse things, and you say things in kind of a way that you don't know if the person is saying yes or no, and very indirect. So you have to navigate and figure out what is the real meaning of what this person is telling me, and that's a very big culture shock. So drawing, as I said, is a really big part of my life, and I think that through drawing, I discover many things about the world and also about myself. And especially with manga, when you draw a story, you really have to take from your personal experience, and you have to do it in a way that's other people can sympathize with. So you really have to understand the emotion. And I think that that's really a really good skill to have, like storytelling. So in that way, I think manga is a very worthwhile pursuit, even though it takes a long time and it's very thankless and you don't get rewarded for it really. But it's very rewarding in like for yourself personally. Feelings, and then also personal experience, because when you have to draw someone, overcoming an obstacle, then if you don't know what it's like to have overcome something that could be similar, then it might not be very convincing when you're showing it. So, yeah. I hope that I could debut professionally in the future. And debuting means that you get acknowledged by a publisher for the first time. So that could be through a contest where you submit your work to a contest and then it wins, or it places at a high enough level, or maybe even if you're posting online and doing individual publishing, you could also get kind of discovered by a publisher who wants to take your art and publish it. So those are kind of the ways that you could debut. And yeah, I'm interested in more aggressively pursuing it. I was mostly doing indie comics, and I just feel like I want to push myself more and try for it. Yeah, you can publish online by yourself, but since Twitter became different, it has become harder, because in Japan, a lot of comic readers were on platforms like Twitter or Pixiv, and in recent years, Pixiv has become really overflooded with AI art, and it looks like that people's viewership of the site is going down, so that's very bad for getting discovered. And also in terms of Twitter, it's become more political, so art content is not a high priority for the algorithm. So it's very hard when social media is prioritizing like arguments and like things to make people outraged, and not art, because then the art doesn't get shown to anyone, so it's harder to be discovered. My thoughts on AI and the future of drawing are that I think that AI, not all AI is exactly the same, and generative AI is a specific one that I think has disrupted drawing a lot. I used to work for an app developer, so they used a lot of different technologies to make tools to help artists. They could refine their line art, or they could, remove certain parts from a scanned image, or something that's part of a process that the artist is deciding to do. But when the artist doesn't have the decision making in every aspect, I think that's where everything gets lost. So with generative AI, the bad part is that it just doesn't let you think. If you just, you could write a different prompt or something, and it comes out with a slightly different thing, but it is basing all of this on a data set that has been pulled from the entire internet. But the entire internet at a specific point in time, and you don't know if it's being updated all the time, and also what is it being updated with, you don't know. So there's many things that's not your decision at all. So you could also say, oh, I can use it just for ideas, and then I'll expand from the idea. But then it's also giving you the basis of ideas from a data set that is existent at a certain point of time that you don't know where it's from, and it just kind of feeds into the mainstream. So everything becomes kind of the same, and you're not challenging yourself anymore, because if you're faced with a blank page and you have to think, like, what do I want to draw? Like, what am I feeling? Like, maybe if you saw an image shown to you, now you got that, like, you don't have the way to interact with your feelings, or the way to reflect on like what is happening with your life or what's happening with the world around you, and you're just focusing on the thing that this program is telling you is maybe a good answer to the problem, but you don't challenge yourself to come up with a new answer. So I'm kind of afraid that people will lose their creativity and their spark and their newness, because the world is always changing. So even though we had, all these pictures of horses or paintings of horses that existed in the world, maybe there's something happening in the world that makes you want to depict a horse differently. And if you just are fed the past all the time and you're not looking around and taking now and putting that in, then you're never going to evolve and art will never evolve. So I'm very worried that the future could become dull and very same and lose human creativity. But I think people will still draw no matter what. But they could just draw more boring things all the time, which will make me very sad. I have a comic that I drew earlier this year for a comic event that is an indies comic event called Comitia. And it's different from Comiquette because it's not fan comics, it's original story comics. And so this is some of it. It's a short story that I just thought of and then decided to draw out and do. I did this one on computer because recently I've moved to computer and doing things digitally. And yeah, so I printed this out myself. But in reality, this would be cut. If it was with an actual printing company, they cut this. So that's why it looks very white. So this is when I did do things by paper and pen and tone. So this is, pen and ink, dip pen, where you just physically dip the pen. And this is a screen tone. All the patterns and the grays are screen tone. And then the black is a brush pen. And everything is done by hand. And you cut out all of this screen tone and paste it on. It's already got glue on the back, so you just have to make sure that it doesn't glue somewhere strange. Here's a page from this manga. And you can see that all the lines are done by hand with a ruler. This one is curved with a curved ruler. And so I just took a ruler and painstakingly drew each line by hand. And then I have also the climax page, where the climax is defeating this gelatinous monster. It's kind of like a big slime monster. So I have a lot of lines that I did all by hand with the ruler. And also, this is tone paper, but this is all ruler lines. So it was a lot of me with a ruler drawing. Nowadays, the computer can help you, and the computer can you just put a point here that everything should converge here, and then you just draw, and it automatically will make all the lines converge at the point. You don't need to put down a ruler anymore. So it's very helpful. There are many struggles to become a mangaka. The first one that I kind of mentioned was the visa issue. If you're a foreign person, then the visa issue could be very big for you because you need a visa to live in Japan. And the publishers will not sponsor you unless you have some concrete work with them. And to get that, you also need, months of trying to appeal to them or trying to make a pitch. So you really need to have some sort of job besides manga if you want to be a mangaka and you need the sponsorship. And then besides that, money, because even to get a job in manga, you need to invest a lot of time making the pitch and then making a serialization plan. But you need to get debut before that. So there's so many steps. And then with debut, you can get money if it's through a contest. But if you don't do anything after your debut, then you don't have any money because you didn't produce anything after that. And there's no guaranteed, like some contests have a guaranteed serialization. Some contests, most contests don't have guarantees. So then you have to pitch and then get the pitch picked up, and then maybe you can get 10 chapters and you know that you will have a salary for 10 chapters. But if the 10 chapters go out and you don't get enough readers and you don't get enough views, then your series is done. And then you have to start all over again.